Looking strong. Nice job, Global Runner. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm the Global Runner and I'm 51 years old, and I have been on a quest ever since I turned 50 to see if I could run the same times or faster than I had run in my youth. And I set myself a target of 2 hours and 30 minutes for the marathon. In the build up to the latest marathon I did, which was the Ottawa Marathon less than a week ago, I ran a 16:01 5K and a 33:02 10K, which are both lifetime bests. So I do feel like I have achieved the target, which was to see if I could still run fast in my 50s. But the real plan was the very aggressive target of a sub 2:30 marathon. And I just ran Ottawa and I didn't come close. Once again, I ran 2:39. So this video is going to go through what happened at the Ottawa Marathon, what I learned from it, everything from my shoes, my fueling, what went right, what went wrong. So let's get into it. Here we go, the calm before the storm. I've got my coffee. I had a bagel with peanut butter and banana, and gonna start warming up in a bit after a shower. The weather looks like it's gonna be perfect. Look at this, the calm before the storm. That's gonna be millions of runners. No one on the streets of Ottawa, apart from that taxi driver. Look at the flag. Barely moving at all. Okay, the warm up. Here we go. Race day, hour to go. Here we go, it's rare that you're here alone, I think. So, a moment of reflection, I guess. We've got 50 minutes to go till the start. And yeah, come a long way. I remember a few months ago doing a rep, like a mile rep, and doing it at sort of 5:45 and just being, oh man, that's marathon pace. That felt hard. And we have come a long way since then. So yeah, let's just see what today brings. Exciting. I was just jogging, someone said good luck today, Global Runner. That's classic, I like that. Let's go. In terms of the race itself, I've already done an entire video on that, so I'm not going to go through that in any detail. That video, by the way, has had over 6,000 views, so feel free to check that out. The race itself, I didn't feel great right from the gun. I had some quad issues which I was sort of struggling with. I managed to find the 2:34 pace group and I stuck with them until about 25k when they dropped me. But from that point on, I actually hung on much better than I was expecting to, and it could have been way worse. So I finished in 2:39. So let's deal with the first issue first. I didn't do it. I wasn't even close. I was 9 minutes away from my target, nearly 10 minutes away from my target of 2:29. Now, my last 3 marathons have been 2:38, 2:39, 2:39, and it's extremely interesting that the slower I went through halfway, the faster I ran. So when I ran my 2:38, I was by far the slowest through halfway. So take from that what you will. But of course, I didn't want to run 2:38. I wanted to run faster than that, and I had to go with what I wanted and what I felt on the day. Now, some people may say, well, you've done a 2:38, a 2:39, and a 2:39. That's your level now. that's what you should be expecting. And maybe they're right, but I just don't buy it. I feel like I can go faster. And the next marathon is the New York City Marathon. So of course, I could do the same type of training and hope to run faster in the New York City Marathon. But what do they say? Is it the definition of madness if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result? It's something like that. So we are going to change things up. That's not for this video, that's for a future video. But the training for the New York City Marathon is going to be different. So it is Thursday and I ran the marathon on Sunday. So we're 4 days after the marathon and finally my legs can tolerate my weight. I couldn't get down the stairs. I was really battered. I think we've all been there and I really suffered from DOMS on this occasion. I've got to say, it is a bit weird when you're lying in bed and your body hurts, but you're not worried about it. Like ordinarily you're lying in bed and you're like, oh, my knee hurts. And you think, oh, I better keep an eye on that. But in this occasion, you think, oh, my knee hurts. That's to be expected. I just ran a marathon. So we went through the usual stages of first night, my legs were just screaming at me and I barely got any sleep. The next night I could sleep, but I couldn't tolerate my weight. We're finally at the stage where I can walk properly now, but my legs are just super tired, obviously. So it's going to take a while to get over, and I'm going to give myself at least a week of absolutely no exercise, and then we'll see where we go from there. And we'll talk about what's next in a minute. The course was a little bit hillier than I was expecting, but still pretty flat. No excuses with the course, and I had a group around me the whole time. So there was, in terms of perceived effort, having people to run with obviously makes it significantly easier, and I had that right up till 25k. So perfect conditions, perfect time to have an attempt at it, and it just wasn't my day. The weather on race day was perfect. Like, I couldn't have asked for any better weather. A little bit of a breeze, but that's okay. Just the perfect temperatures. I think we had sort of about 12 degrees and cloudy the whole time, so that was absolutely perfect. In terms of fueling, I think I nailed it. I was lucky enough to have an elite bib, which meant that I got a bottle every 5k, and I filled the first 5 of those with scratch, and then the last 3 with flat Coke, and that was perfect. That was exactly the right strategy. I only had 1 gel the whole time I was out there. I felt like I was getting enough carbs through the drink. And so I had 1 gel at about halfway, which had some caffeine in it. And that was a precision gel. But other than that, I didn't have anything else. We are going to be looking at different nutrition. And again, that's for another video. But in the future marathons and in this training block coming up, we're going to be looking at different types of nutrition, and I've got one that I'm really excited to try. One thing I was a bit obsessive about in previous training blocks, which I didn't obsess about in this one, is race weight. Now, I'm quite light anyway, and I would obsess about getting a little bit lighter. But having run the fast times over the 5k and the 10k, I decided that I would just ignore race weight. I think you get to the weight you need to be anyway. And I decided to remove that as a factor from the equation in terms of things to obsess about, and I'm glad I did. I think there's a lot on YouTube at the minute about race weight and how you need to be lighter. You've got to be really careful, and I think the thing that I've learned from this training block in particular is, as long as you don't feel heavy, there is no need to obsess over the numbers. And the minute you start looking at your weight, you start obsessing over the numbers. I've got these fancy scales and they put my body fat at 5%. So there's not a ton to lose anyway, assuming that data is correct. So I just feel like it would be more dangerous to obsess over it than to not obsess over it. So I took that out of the equation and focused on other things during this training block. So in Ottawa, I wore the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. I had the option to wear the R3. I chose to go with the safer option, and that was a good call. At no stage did I ever feel like the shoes were holding me back or that I wish I had a different shoe. So very happy with that shoe. So what went wrong? Well, about 10 days before the race, my quads got super tight. I'm still not sure why. I don't know if it was the taper. I don't know if it was because I was trying to balance them out with doing a bit of different types of training, like biking, static biking, a little bit of pool running, a few light band exercises. But something tightened up my quads and I just couldn't get rid of it. And so I went into the race knowing that I had tight quads. I feel like I ran it exactly like I needed to do. I ran a little bit faster than the 2:34 pace group for about 5K. And then when they caught up with me, I hung with them as long as I could. So I hung with them till about the 25K mark, and then I dropped off. And I think I could have stayed with them, but I decided that I was working too hard for that stage of the race, and so I backed off. And I'm glad I did, because my pace massively dropped in the last, say, 6K anyway, and I think it would have only dropped even further had I not backed off. And I think part of the proof was was 3 of the people who ran away from me, at least 3 of the people who ran away from me at 25K, came back to me. Either they stopped on the side of the road, or they pulled out, or they just had a much bigger decline in terms of pace than I did. So I do feel like I made the right call at that point of the race. One thing I'd note though was I still had to sprint. I'm glad I looked at my watch with about 3 minutes to go, because I was thinking I'm going to hit 2:40.02 again, and that will not please me at all. So I had a very uncomfortable last 3 minutes, but managed to get in just under 2:30 just under 2:40, Freudian slip, in 2:39.55. Well, I think I'm going to train like a boxer for the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'm going to do a ton of cross training, speed bag work and heavy bag work, and my daughter is amazing at skipping, and so I'm going to get her to teach me how to skip properly. Do a lot of cross training in terms of static bike and elliptical, and just really lay off the running, make sure the body properly recovers, but still remain fit. I think part of aging is you have to remain fit. So I'm going to work on some of the upper body stuff, but cardio as well as strength, and then use that as the basis for the next training block, but I'm not giving anything away yet. The one thing I would let you know is the training block is going to end in November at the New York City Marathon. That is the World Age Group Marathon Championships. So I'm going large. I'm going to really try and get in amazing shape for that. And next training block, I'm going to have a crew. There's a bunch of us doing New York, and I'm really excited to get some training in with other people. So that's the plan, is to seriously get fit, but that is for another video. Okay, so in conclusion, the Ottawa Marathon was amazing. I really enjoyed it. It's a good marathon, it's well run, it's a decent course. The weather this year was perfect. I couldn't have asked for anything else. I'd highly recommend it. It was a fun way to explore the city, just really cool. And the Prime Minister of Canada was cheering us on, which is not something you can say every day. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how it went. I'm not happy with the result, but I do feel like that was all I had to give on that particular day. And so I can't be upset with myself. I'm actually proud of the effort that I put in. I feel like sometimes when I finish a marathon, I feel like I didn't dig deep enough. This time I dug deep. And I think it was good for me to have that, to be able to recognize that I can dig deep when I need to. And in New York, I'm going to have to. So that's the plan. I'm not disappointed. I ran the best I could on the day, but I didn't do it, and I didn't get close. So do I think I can do it? You bet your carbon-plated racing shoe I can. Feel free to hit subscribe. The next few months are going to get crazy as we build up for the New York City Marathon, and we're going to be trying something very, very different this time. Thanks for watching. I'll be with you very soon.